Hey everybody, this is Angela from State of Puzzling. In this video, I wanted to show you how I catalog my puzzles. My collection is over 30 years old, and this inventory sheet just helps me to keep track of it as it grows. So here what I'm doing is getting ready to record some new puzzles that I have in from Puzzle Haul that was done in 2021. And so I'm just starting by propagating some of the easier columns in here. So this right here is a Google Sheet. It is kept in the cloud, and I really do like keeping something that's in the cloud and where I can back it up locally every week. You can see here the bottom tabs of this sheet have my other collections. Being a librarian by trade and an archivist, the RG stands for record group, and basically you can use this technique to inventory any collection of items that you have. And so I'm just going about very easily propagating some of the initial columns in here. And so you can see the column A is a numerical number. It helps me to sort. Column B is the full text version of that number. So I use a 5-digit number, 00, then followed by whatever the number is. And I capture a variety of information in here. And you don't have to capture everything that I have in here, but I found that over the years, these fields have become very important to me, and so I can easily come into the sheet and I can add fields in here. I've retired fields that I no longer use, but I found a really kind of a sweet spot in terms of the fields that I want to capture. So just going through filling out the easier fields first, then I'll come back to the beginning of that sheet. And at this point I have the puzzle stacked up in front of me in my puzzle studio, and then I'm just starting to record the information that I have on each box of the puzzle, of each puzzle. So I'll go through and look up the title, look at the size, the number of pieces. And sometimes that's not always printed at, all of that information is not printed together in the same location on the box, right? So you have to kind of pick up the box and move it around and find the information you're looking for. I definitely want to capture the manufacturer, which is the maker of the puzzle, and the vendor, which is where I bought the puzzle from. And a lot of times that is, those are different. They're not always the same. So just coming back in and getting the size. I do prefer my sizes in inches. If it's given in another dimension, then I have to convert that. But I try to keep that consistent. I do put in comments as well if there's something a little different that distinguishes that puzzle from other puzzles in my collection. I like to have that information in there as well. So just filling out, and I'm looking at each puzzle, handling the box, finding the information that I need, putting in my sizes, putting in my pieces. I collect my pieces as a text-based field versus a numerical field, because sometimes there are just different little descriptions with the piecing that I want to put in there. I don't capture the total number of pieces in my entire collection. I have a very large collection. This sheet is 2 years old, so I've actually grown by another 150 or so. So the collection is growing, but I probably will at some point capture the numerical number for the pieces so I could just total them. So again, just kind of continuing to move right along. This is a pretty easy sheet to use, but it keeps everything standard and it just helps you to track what is in your collection. And I really feel like this helps you to grow your collection in specific directions, and that's really quite nice when you're collecting puzzles. And so just continuing along, I do have some 3D puzzles in here as well. For the sizing, I tend to start with the width and then the height. I try to keep that standard, and I take the time to collect the actual number that's on the puzzle. And for me, I don't do I've never done a puzzle more than once. And so once I finish a puzzle, I will frame it or schedule it to be framed, and then I'll do another measurement. And I do find that, yeah, see, in this case, the puzzle was given in centimeters, and I have to convert that to inches. So I just go on to Google, look that up, then put it in Notepad to type in the format of it, and then transfer it into the sheet. So what I was saying was, when I get ready to frame my puzzles, I do take another measurement. And so I do find that in some rare cases, the actual finished puzzle might be different than what's listed on the box. That's happened to me 2 or 3 times in the past, where I've gone ahead and I've used the number that's on the box, and I bought the frame and everything, and then I get the frame and it's like, oh no, wait a minute, this is off. So now I take a final measurement before I go to frame my puzzles. And so if there is a discrepancy, I'll come back in here and I'll put it in the comments section. All right, so just finishing this up. So we had quite a few puzzles in this haul. A lot of times I will hold off and do the cataloging in batches, but I tried to get the puzzles cataloged in as soon as possible. I don't like to have the puzzles just kind of laying around. I like to get them stored, and I like to get them cataloged in. So here's another set that I'm working on. Had quite a few puzzles. I have quite a few puzzles that come in at the end of the year, because I usually will look at clearance sales, Black Friday, holiday sales. Those are really good times to get puzzles. The summertime is also another time to get good deals on puzzles. And so I tend to have quite a few puzzles that come in. So there's lots of cataloging going on. And so this sheet will get used. So for the Thomas Kinkade, I have, that was a really good sale. I think it was like $20 for 8 puzzles. And they were really beautiful puzzles. And so when I have a series like that, I just give it a unique number. So if it starts with 190, let's say, I wouldn't write 190A, 190B, 190C, because I want that number to be sortable. So I wouldn't have it be alphanumeric. I would just give it the next available number. So I'm just getting in those Thomas Kinkade ones. Yeah, as I remember, that was a really, really good deal. You can get some great deals. Towards the end of the year, I give out a list of 100 of my favorite puzzles for the year. It's called Angela's Puzzle Picks, and you can find information about that on the website. I'll put that in the description of the video as well. And that list comes out every year. It really helps you to grow your puzzle collection. All right, so we're just kind of finishing up. We had quite a few puzzles in this batch. And now I'm putting in the genres, and I tend to put that in last because it does take a little bit of time to describe the genres that the puzzle is in. The genre is a lot more general. I do have a hard time keeping that standard. It's kind of hard to keep it standard. The subject matter allows you to get more granular. So I may say location is a genre, and then maybe France could be, or maybe Europe could be a genre. And then subject matter, I may say Paris, France. And I do treat, I choose to treat Europe and France as genres, because in a given collection there's a, there's a whole genre of puzzles about France, and location puzzles. You can really break these down. I only allow two levels here, so I have to kind of take a bit of leeway in how I'm defining genre and subject matter here. But it really just depends on your own collection and what you choose to do with it. So these are, and I'm still kind of working on these. It's like I said, it's a little hard to keep them standardized. But I do go in later. After I put them in here, I do go in later and I audit them to standardize them. So if I've kind of changed my cadence when I'm entering the puzzle, I come back in there later and I correct that. But definitely I would like to do some improvement work in that area. And then next I start to really work with the, in finishing this up, I work with the location, the physical location of the puzzle. And so at this time, I have the labels, physical labels on the puzzles. I have placed the puzzles on their shelving units. And I'm just going back and I'm recording the location of the puzzle into this log. So that's what's happening here. And I've really developed quite a cadence, and I've used so many different schemes, but I've settled on one that I really, really like, and I've been using it for the past 10 years or so. There are 3 parts to the location, and you can see some of them coming in there. So if I say like A3.1, the A is the location of the shelving unit. And so I have various locations where I have the shelving units. Now, my main location is to store them in my puzzle studio. So that's location A. And I do have various locations around the house, like in the garage or whatever it is. and so that letter will change. Then the digit, if it's like A3, that would represent the shelving unit number. So I have identical shelves, which make it very uniform. So it could be like A1, A2, A3, etc. And so I give the shelving unit number. And then the dot could be dot 1, dot 2, dot 3. That is the shelf number on that unit. And so I'm using 30 by 60 shelves, 30 wide by 60 high, 4 shelves, and they look really, really uniform. And so A3.1 means that that puzzle would be in location A, shelf unit 3, shelf number 1. And that's been working for me quite nicely. So I'm just kind of coming back, making sure everything is in here, making sure the locations are there. When the puzzles first start, they are in their original boxes. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll put the pieces, if they're loose pieces, I like to put them in Ziploc bags, but they stay in their boxes. And then finally, I have a concatenation column. And basically, as I propagate this column, it's in orange. It copies various fields from the sheet, and I use that as a label. So I can print that label, and it's actually sized perfectly for an Avery 2 by 4, 2 inches by 4 inches, which is the number 5163 label. So I can use that label. I can also just copy and paste that into my website when I'm doing puzzle reviews. And then I'll come back in and I'll do a little bit of pricing information. That takes me a long time to go through receipts, but I'll come back in and I'll do that. But anyway, thank you so much for viewing this video. Goodbye for now. This is Angela from State of Puzzling. Happy puzzling, folks. Goodbye for now.